Artificial intelligence is already here. Dog culture is artificial intelligence. Today, we're going to look at an example from the world of canine sniffing dogs. So, first off, let's look at this little website. It's about the pattern recognition of artificial intelligence. So, artificial intelligence is pattern recognition. That's a big part of how it works. It doesn't necessarily make a decision like a human would with the prefrontal lobe. It's basing things on a pattern. And then it's deciding, is that pattern okay? Is this the pattern that we're going to repeat? And that's how dogs work too. Dogs do not have a prefrontal lobe. They work on a pattern. If you always feed them at 5 a.m., at 5 a.m., they're going to be jumping in your bed, licking on you. If you always share your bag of beef jerky or chips, every time they hear that bag open, they're going to be bouncing up on your couch. And other type of things. You always come home at 5:30, but you're not there until 7:30, and then they poop all over your floor. They're recognizing a pattern, and they're trying to get themselves back into that pattern by the way that they act. Dogs are not smart, they're just recognizing a pattern. So the pattern with canine drug sniffing dogs and other drug sniffing dogs is that they get a reward when they sniff something, when they alert on something. The police officer will say, good boy. They'll rub the dog's belly, rub the dog's back, touch up on the dog, the kind of things that dogs do during like mating, rub their belly, rub the back of them. So the dog is recognizing a pattern. If I sniff something and make a bunch of barking noises, I'll get touched and rubbed and given a little treat, and all the police officers will say, good boy, aw. And so a big part of this drug sniffing is just pattern recognition. The dog wants the reward, so if the dog ends up smelling something that isn't drugs, the dog will alert on that anyways. One example of this that I mentioned before is a drug sniffing dog that gets a girl kicked out of school because it just sniffed some brownies. So I'll put this story in the description if you want to see this one. So now we're over here at some canine false alert stories. So this is an example of what I'm talking about. The canine dog, they get a reward when they smell something. So if the police officer does a certain type of body language, like reaches into his pockets or lifts his hand up to give the dog like a little pet or a stroke, the pattern recognition of the dingbat, no prefrontal lobe dog will just go ahead and alert, start alerting, bark, 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 or doing whatever it does because it's expecting a treat. If the police officer walks behind the dog in some of these stories, that means the dog is about to get a treat or a pat on the back. So the dog, with its pattern recognition brain, is going to probably do a false alert. It could be drugs. It could be all kinds of stuff. They always alert on random stuff that's up inside the fenders of the vehicle, the tire. You could run over a bug on the street and the dog would smell the bug and false alert. So these things false alert all the time, and they also cost counties and police stations big money with lawsuits when these false alerts cause downstream problems. And here we have another one with police dogs versus innocent citizens.
Will cost the city $190,000.
Tonight, we're digging.
$190,000. That's just one of the stories. So we're talking about pattern recognition, right? Well, when they train these police dogs, like these police dogs, they attack children. But when they train these police dogs, they're training them to go after somebody that runs. They're training them to go after somebody that acts a certain way. Like if you get out of a car and a police dog sees you and you're kind of darting around and being kind of loud or boisterous, maybe you're just having a good time. Maybe you're just excited, like one of these little kids. That little pea-brain dog, the pattern recognition of the police dog, that's like an assailant running away, and the dog wants to be rewarded for getting the assailant, so boom, the dog goes after the little kid. That's artificial intelligence A dog is artificially intelligent. The thing isn't intelligent. It's a freaking idiot. But it's running on pattern recognition and it's hurting people and it's not using any type of human consideration. If the dog was equipped with the proper brain like a human, the dog might be triggered by the running around and being loud, but then the prefrontal lobe, the impulse control could kick in and say, whoa, wait a minute. That's just a little kid running in the street. Her basketball got kicked across and she's just running away. That's not somebody I need to attack. But a dog does not have the ability to do that. So with dogs, we're already tearing up our citizens because of this pattern recognition brain that these dogs have. Many of these canine false alerts, many of these dogs that attack citizens are toddlers. And so there is a clear danger with these police dogs. This police dog locked onto a man's throat for a minute. This man was leaving a hospital and the police canine attacked him. And you can say, well, the problem is the dog handlers screwed up. Well, the dog handlers are always going to screw up because the dog handlers are actually stressed out. The dog handlers are the only ones that have a prefrontal lobe that can make these discerning human decisions. And so now the police officers have to make decisions for themselves and their fellow officers and their family too. But now they're having to make prefrontal lobe decisions for this canine dog that they got running around with them. And so the police officers are already having their decision-making abilities of their brain stressed by having this dog with them. Even the canines that are being taken care of by veterinary employees and other shelter employees, those people are getting attacked too. This is a lot like the fear that people have of robots. Robots might log onto the internet and see all this subhuman sentiment, and then robots might decide to try to kill us or launch a nuclear war or something like that. We're already there with dogs. Dogs are constantly killing us, constantly attacking our young people that want to be veterinarians, and it's all because of their little pea brain, pattern recognition brain. They want to treat, they want to resource guard, and so they see something that's acting a certain way, making a certain noise, and they go after it, and they will, if a human doesn't step in, these people will oftentimes just get killed. The dog will go until the person bleeds out. The dog can never kick in that top-down control of a human brain and tell itself, whoa, I'm doing something wrong here. I'm trying to solve a problem, but I'm making the problem worse. You know, people think that these dogs are solving all kinds of problems, but when they latch onto the face of an innocent veterinary employee, and even let's just say that employee was doing something that she wasn't supposed to do. Maybe she slapped the dog in the face. It doesn't matter. You're still making the problem 10 times worse by making this woman have a terribly disfigured face, possibly bleed out, and now she has to go back to her family and live through all this trauma and guilt, and everybody's going to tell her that dogs are better than humans while she's walking around with this gaping hole in her face because of a dog. So this has been our look at how artificial intelligence is already deeply into our culture through dog culture. These dogs recognize a pattern and they just repeat it. They do it without making any decisions. We see this especially with the pit bull attacks. We see this with the people that respond to the pit bull attacks too. It's the same pattern every time. We have no idea why the pit bull attacked. We have no clue why that happened. And if AI does start to take over and see that humans are totally fine with pit bulls attacking them, what kind of pattern do you think AI is going to start doing when it pushes out advertisements for pit bulls and stuff? Yeah, it's going to get a lot freaking worse. See you guys later.